Hey, welcome to session number 5 of the Fast Start for December 2020. I'm William Mears, founder of Ring Ads, and your host for today. You'll have to bear with me. I know I have not shaved in a couple of days. I am feeling a little bit better than yesterday, though. If you couldn't tell, yesterday I was a little bit under the weather. Actually, prior to that as well. So the last couple of days have not been the best for me. However, I'm here. I'm kicking strong. Happy to see you. As I get started here, uh, be more than happy to hear where you're tuning in from, as always, and what you got on your mind, what you got going. I saw there was a question from yesterday, actually, specifically from Christine. I'll be answering that towards the end of the session when we do our little live Ask Me Anything session for this. Well, end of the session, I should say. Segment. There we go. Segment of the session. And yeah, today is all about, by the way, just wrapping things up, getting things ready. So anything that you don't have currently done yet, if you'd like to ask questions about that, get your mind around it, whatever it is, and ongoing, of course. Is that Cranfield? Cranfield, England. Very cool. Man, a lot of people from the UK. I love it. Um, Believe it or not, there's you folks that are in the UK. I'll tell you about a few advantages that you have here in a little bit. Just remind me, and I'll be sure to share that. But welcome, happy to see you here as always. I'm going to refresh my page just so I can see the real-time Facebook comments for who's actually. Oh, it's Christina. Christina's in Cranfield. Cool. So Christina's on. Very good. And I know other people will be on here shortly. So let's get started, shall we? So December 2020, looks like I have the right slide selected, by the way, this time. That's so funny. I'm always in here editing slides, and when I do, they obviously display on the one that I have currently selected. So I always have to go back to the top and select the one that I need selected. So here it is, December Dash. We're going to talk very briefly about the awards, details, and rules. The rules are posted, so I'm not going to really mess with those. I'm also going to finalize everything for the announcements for tomorrow's coaching call, which, by the way, is at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time inside of the free to join Ring Ads Facebook group. Now, actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to back out of this. We're going to go to this nifty little website here, connectwithringads.com. So connectwithringads.com. You want to follow us on the Facebook page, like us, join the Ring Ads Facebook group for free, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, which we will be adding content there soon, and follow us on Twitter. You have now the ability to do that. And if you notice, there will be some prizes. These are unannounced currently, but as you go through these through December Dash, you'll definitely want to be making sure that you've got all these steps completed. They're very simple to do, and I will have an instruction video showing you how to do each and every one of these in minute detail, just to make it easy on you, right? So, couple-minute video knocking out exactly how to do what you need to do in order to get all of our announcements, all of our live streams at the top of your news feed, for example, as opposed to just seeing them occasionally, right? So if you're committed to the December Dash and actually building your pay-per-call agency, then I want to help you do that. But connectwithringads.com is a great place to start. And again, I will have a video up there soon uh, detailing each step and how to do that and do it well. Okay, back to slides. Here we go. So December Dash, I'm just going to cover the awards. Again, the rules are posted. So and I'll be adding to this, like I said, again for tomorrow's coaching call at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the free Facebook, the free Facebook group, free to join Ring Ads Facebook group. There we go. Show Up, Grow Up Award, right? This is for attendance. Everybody can win this. There's total client count, first and second and third place on this. It's based on how many clients you actually pulled in. They've got to be verified, of course, all that kind of stuff. There's also what we call the Got There First Award, where we're doing this for the person who gets to 5 clients first, gets the 5 client Got There First Award, and we're doing that for 5 clients, 10 clients, 20 clients, and 30 clients. And in addition to this, I'll be adding in an individual achievement set of awards. So that way, just because somebody got to 5 clients first does not mean that you're not going to get rewarded for getting to 5 clients, even if you weren't the first to get there, right? Because it's not always about being the first. It's always about the consistency. And so I want to reward that. So there will be an individual achievement awards at the same levels of 5 clients, 10 clients, 20 clients, and 30 clients for the month of December. Okay. So there it is: 5 clients, 10 clients, 20 clients, 30 clients. And then we have really awesome set of awards here. The Best New Performance Award. That is by far one of our best awards because it's how do I say this? It's for people that have, well, to start with, it's for people that are based physically in the United States and using ring ads and have less than 5 clients. And it's based on a point system. So however well you do based on following the training and going after client acquisition, all that kind of stuff, um, at the end of the month, you could be in the points lead. And if you're in the points lead, then and your agency's located in the United States, or you physically are located in the United States, and are using ring ads, then you're going to be qualified for winning the Best New Performance Award. Now, for those of you who are not located in the U.S., right, so anywhere else, outside of the United States physically, there's one for you too. And it's a mirror image of it, just again for people that are not located in the United States. And it's called the Commode Award. I know that sounds kind of funny. It's not a shit award, I promise you. There's a backstory behind Commode, and I'll explain that in I guess during the December Dash. I've already kind of given a backstory on that, but on the last coaching call we did actually, but or maybe the coaching call before last, uh, at least the last one. And yeah, it's again to reward those who are not located in the United States physically, but also are building an agency that starting from fewer than 5 clients outside of the U.S. Right? Super important to reward that. And kudos to Julian for that, coming up with that idea. Then there's the Lego Man Award. The Lego Man Award is solely judged by me, and it's something that is just 100% at my discretion. It's for people who follow instructions to a T. So if you follow instructions to a T, then you're going to qualify for this award. There's no guarantee that I will give this away. Okay, if I don't see anybody that has followed instructions to a T, I'm not just going to give this away. This is not one of those that. So if this gets awarded, by the way, this right here, you can get double awards. I mean, if you got the Best New Performance Award, for example, because you were located in the United States and you got the most points for the end of the month, and you followed the instructions to a T, you very well could get the Lego Man Award in addition to the Best New Performance Award. So you could very well double down on a lot of the things that are going to be announced for the prizes for tomorrow in our coaching call. So. Just be aware of that. It does not mean that I'm going to award this. It means if I find someone that followed instructions to a T, if there's only one person, then there's only one person. If there's 3, then I'm going to evaluate performances based on just my discretion and what I see, who has the most promise, who's done very well with the instructions, and maybe even get into the minute details of following instructions to a T. Just because these people that choose to go this way or model after what I've taught very closely. Tend to have success much faster and also much longer lasting, meaning they encounter less challenges along the way. They do still have challenges, everybody does, but at the same time, they're able to navigate those a lot more successfully because they followed instructions to a T, if that makes sense. Points are awarded. Verified client is 10 points. We'll talk about what a verified client is here in a second. Every result that's posted in the Ring Ads Facebook group is going to be 10 points. Every call recording of a client that you've closed and submitted into support, that's going to be 50 points. Every $100 of revenue that you've collected that's been verified is 10 points. And also the Got There First Award, each level is 50 points, okay? What's a verified client? Screenshot of revenue collected, either via Stripe or PayPal. It's got to be posted in the Ring Ads Facebook group, and then all the sensitive information, client-sensitive information like transaction IDs, last names, things like that, they must be blurred out before posting. Don't worry about blurring out first names, things like that. We definitely want to see those. And if there's, for example, if your vertical is inside of your company name when you're doing the invoice or the receipt there, the transaction receipt, you can blur that out. I don't mind if you don't want to reveal your vertical, that's fine. But make sure all the sensitive information is blurred out for sure. Okay, that's considered a verified client. There's the FAQ screens. There's 2 of these. I'm gonna leave this up so you can freeze frame this and go through it at your own pace. And I'll do that for the second screen as well. And session number 5, here we are. So 3 simple rules. to Master Success. We're going to talk about the Software Training Access, all the different places that we're going to be live streaming for the December Dash, the live streams themselves, and we're going to talk about support. And then we're also going to talk about today studying that sales script, hitting it hard. I know we talked about it yesterday, but again, this is by far, if there was one place that most people need work before they start actually prospecting, it's going to be this right here, right? This is basically the link between all the work you've done up to this point, setting up your agency, and actually getting the clients. This is that last link in the chain, if you will, to make that happen. So it's very important. Not that the other links aren't important. You got to have them up and in place. But without this, the weakest link, right? If this is your weakest link, it's gonna your chain's gonna fail. And so we definitely want to make this the strongest link that it can be, right? In fact, if this were the strongest link and you put the focus on that, everything else could be weak and break, and you could fix it almost instantly. This right here, the sales script link, if it's not strong and it's weak, or weaker, let's say, than it could be, you are going to have some problems, and nothing that you can't overcome, but it will take more time. It will take more effort and energy than if you just do it now. Okay, so I'm saying hit it hard this weekend. We'll talk about that more in depth here in a second. And we're going to do a last check on the agency setup, talk about tracking, of course, because that's always important. Keeps you motivated, shows you what you have left to do, and helps you get it done, right? And then, of course, finishing anything that's not completed from yesterday or the previous sessions, all of the previous sessions since we're on session 5, and to be able to look at tracking to do that, okay? All right, so first things first, let's look at 3 simple rules to master success, excuse me. Again, I talked about these more in depth yesterday, so I'm not going to like pound away on these, but I am going to talk about them because again, they are super important in um, how fast the momentum is that you can build, what comes from your efforts. I mean, think of it this way, folks. Like if you had to go to, let's say your doctor said if you don't go to the gym 6 days a week, you're going to die, like in 6 months. Um, so you got to go to the gym. But if you're not working smart, right? In other words, you're just there and you're working out, but you don't exactly know what you're doing, um, you may get to better health, right? You have a shot at it at least because you are there consistently 6 days a week because the doctor told you're going to die if you don't, right? So that makes sense. But in terms of actually uh, the combination of these 3 rules here, I mean, look at it this way: if you're in the gym training and you were provided a series of workouts that would get you a certain result or pretty close to a certain result, that would be the equivalent of following the training provided. If you deviate from that, you can't expect the same results that you see. So all the results and success stories that you see um, over the shoulder from me, anything that you see, if you want to be able to duplicate that, guess what? You're going to have to duplicate that in every form, including what's being taught, right? And if you have questions as to why, ask. Ask. I have no problems in you challenging that. In fact, there's a lot of times where something may just not make sense to you why I would do this. And sometimes it's a personal preference. And other times there's many reasons as to why we use certain things that just aren't maybe obvious up front. And again, these are things that will become obvious to you as you go through the process if you have either done what you've been taught or not done what you've been taught, right? Uh, I'd rather you learn the easy way, not the hard way. Hard way's already been learned for you. Just got to follow the training, right? The work at that consistently 6 days a week, you got to show up, right? So if you're showing up to the gym 6 days a week, then the consistency is there, and of course the momentum builds on your momentum builds on your previous days, right? And there's some days you're going to go to the gym, you're just not going to feel like it. There's some days you're going to go to the gym and you're just not able to perform even close to what you thought you were going to be able to do that day, but you showed up, and that's the point, because there will be progress from that you will see down the road, and not way down the road either. Usually fairly quickly, especially if you're following the training, you're going to see a lot of results pretty quickly and on down the road. And then support, you reaching out to support, asking questions. I've seen several of you doing that. I really appreciate that because that tells me exactly where you're at in your business, what's going on in your head, what you're thinking about in terms of where you want your business to head, and also just your mindset, right? If that needs work, that comes up from that engagement. And this would be the equivalent of reaching out to a personal trainer, right? Um, Imagine if a gym had personal trainers just there for free, right? I mean, the equivalent to think about this for a second, guys. Ringads is a call tracking platform, yes, but an agency management platform. In fact, it's the world's first and only, as far as I know, that is a full agency management platform along with call tracking. So there's that, right? But on top of that, you've got access to me, and I've made sure that during this month, during coming up in December, that you're going to have more access to me than you've ever had before. And that's the equivalent of like just having a free trainer walking around saying, "Hey, you need some, you want me to help spot you on that lift there? You know what I mean? Like, here, tuck your knees in, straighten your feet to help you with your form, that kind of thing, right?" Um, there's a lot that comes with that, and the more you use that, obviously, if your form is better and you're following the training and then you're in the gym consistently, yeah, you're going to produce some serious results and pretty quickly compared to everybody else that's just running around the gym completely unscripted or not in a targeted fashion, right? So that's again, quick comparison as to why the massive rules. Excuse me, this three simple rules to massive success. They are massive rules in my mind, and why using them can help you succeed beyond anything you even think you're capable of doing, actually. And if you do this and you do it right, you're going to see some serious results. I'm very happy to say that. We've had these rules for many years now, and I've had people come and go many times on both sides, following, not following. I've had people follow and then deviate. I've had people follow and stay following. I've had people never follow at day one. Okay. I've had people course correct and start following. And I can tell you right now, every time someone puts their main business owner focus on these three rules, success happens in the business, period. Um, there is no substitute for these three. All right. I've boiled it down to the three main rules that are going to help you by far. Okay, so do not take these lightly. In fact, embrace them as your not mantra, but embrace them as your guidelines to how you're going to make this agency succeed. Okay. Software training and access. You guys know how to access the software for free. It's ringads.com. Yes, there are paid options if you don't have the software already, but that's cool. Pick and choose what you need, right? The software itself is completely free. All these kinds of sessions that we're doing, including access to December Dash and participation in that, is 100% free. There's a lot of free shit. In other words, we actually, it's not that we don't want your money at Ringads, okay? We uh, we want you to build a business that you then reinvest with us and build that lifelong business, right? So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for you to join us in the long term, not the short term. Short term's cool, don't get me wrong, but long term's where our focus is, and it's where yours should be. So obviously, we're leading by example on that one, and we care very much about your success. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing uh, a lot of stuff for free like that, right? Okay, so again, things to work on between now and the next live stream. Of course, you want to set your software up, right? Get your API configuration set, account settings set up. You want to review that sales call script. Look at that. It's so important. I'm mentioning it multiple times. Must be something to that. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Okay. Get the templates loaded onto your account via ClickFunnels. That's a super fast way to get everything up that you need to get up for agency building. Grab your Google MCC AdWords account. There's plenty of training out there on YouTube and Google if you need it. And if you're a little bit leery of doing that, don't worry. I'll put out my own training on that here soon. And of course, review part one and part two of the pay-per-call agency success in 24 hours or less guides. They're PDF guides, and they're very valuable, very helpful, very valuable to point you in the right direction on all the things that we've covered actually this entire week. Okay. Ringads Facebook group, you guys know this. I'm not going to have to cover this. We don't tolerate any negative stuff, right? You want to complain? Cool. Come to me to support. Seriously. Directly. I have no problem with that whatsoever. You'll get one warning privately, and then, of course, after that, you're going to be out indefinitely. All right. Just be aware of that. It's a very safe space. Our Ringads Facebook group, we care about people's not only privacy, but their how do I say this? When you're an entrepreneur, I'll come back to the screen here in a second. When you're an entrepreneur, you you start up a business. It doesn't matter what business. It's picture it as like a little bitty flame, and you have to protect it from the elements. Like today, it's a little bit windy where I'm at, and so if I were to try to light even a lighter, it would probably get blown out because the winds are so strong right now. Unless I protect it, right? There we go on the screen. So unless I protect it, right? Now, if I let me scoot over there. There we go. If I don't protect it, flame gets blown out, and the winds are anything. It can be anything from people poo-pooing what you're doing, and poo-pooing is a nice way of me saying people taking a shit all over your ideas of what you're going to be able to do or what you're going after, or yeah, you've been trying to make money for 5 years or 10 years, right? They don't see all the work that's gone in behind that and the effort that's gone in behind that to lead you to this point, right? Um, and it's not that they're bad people or anything, mind you. Just be aware, wind is wind. Wind's going to do what wind does. So people are going to do that. Our goal is to protect that flame, right? And until it's big enough to actually grow into that fire. And I want you to look at the Ring Ads Facebook group as a very cultivated and carefully put together, curated environment for you to be able to grow that flame without having to worry about the wind come along and snuff it out. All right, because I'll tell you right now, the second any kind of wind gets in past those barriers that we have set up for you to protect you and your dream, uh, that shit's canceled. And if it's a person and they're responsible for it on multiple occasions, they're gone because it's a zero tolerance policy. I can't have people that don't know how to check their baggage at the door, uh, taking advantage of running down people, right? And it could be maybe not even directly tied to you. It could be they're just bitching and moaning about their progress or where they're at, and that's fine. Just do that in support, right? Just do that in support because I can help you, right? There's no way that I can't help you. But if you're in there posting into the group, you're totally tearing at other people's dreams, right? And there's a lot of people in this group, and there's going to be even more. So we're definitely going to keep curating and monitoring the garden, if you will, to help you grow that flame. Okay. Okay, back to the screen here. So it's also keep in mind, I told you what it's not for, but here's what it actually is for. It's for questions and answers from not just from me, but from your peers as well. A lot of people can answer questions for you. It's for sharing your journey, your progress, your wins, and not just client wins, all your wins, right? I'm talking everything from um, setting up your agency website and you got it set up, you want somebody to review it or take a look at it or tell you you're on the right track. Maybe you need that confirmation, that validation. Um, hey, I just studied the sales script and I got those two recordings up that William keeps talking about. Will somebody give them a listen? I mean, does anybody even want to listen to them or uh, things like that where it's okay, you've shown the progress and all those points of progress lead to exactly what you want, which is building the agency, right? Not just building the agency, but building an agency that has clients in it. Okay. It's also for things like this, accessing live streams, sharing documents, all kinds of cool training and updates and announcements. That's what the Ring Ads Facebook group is for. Okay. Cool. Glad we got that covered. Live streams. So we normally have training topics to cover. We always cover them first without interruption. Then at the end of each stream, we usually have an Ask Me Anything kind of format, which we should be able to do that today as well. And of course, use these because the more engagement you have with us, the better and faster your results will be. Now, does that mean you have to come on live um, every time with me, like in a Zoom room? No, you can. You're more than welcome to, right? But if you just have questions that you think can be answered in a comment, then comment in the comment section of the post. And guess what? I have real-time access to that, so I'm going to be able to see that. Like I see comments coming in, people are asking questions, and that's great. I'm going to get to those in a minute, but I see them. That's my point. I do see those, and um, it really helps because you're going to get the answers you need. And of course, the more engagement, again, I've seen time and time again, the more engagement you have, the better and faster your results are going to be. Okay. Support, you guys know this. The support channels that we have are listed at the top of the page, actually in multiple places, but definitely at the top of the page in the cover photo of the free to join Ring Ads Facebook group. Now, support channels are mainly used for things like software usage, software bugs, suggestions, file errors, things like that. The live stream is pretty much everything that's not software related. Okay, so if it's not software related, then that's what the live streams and the Facebook group are for primarily. Unless there's something private that you'd like to discuss or get some help on, some insight, like maybe you don't want to tell everybody what verticals you're thinking about and you want to message in support for that, that's fine. I have no problems with that. Just be aware this is primarily what the channels are used for. You're not going to get uh, redirected or ignored or anything like that. Just be aware primarily what the channels are used for and how to use them properly, okay? Keeps things nice and smooth and streamlined for us on our back office so that we can keep you moving. Okay. Okay. We covered that and sales script. Okay, so sales script. Um, hit it hard this weekend. Excuse me. Now, with the sales script, let me come back here. With the sales script, you're gonna, and I do see the comments. I'll get to them in a minute. Just want to make sure I get all these answered and or all these points covered, and then we'll do a bunch of ask me anything. Okay, so if you have questions, comments, by all means, load them up. They're gonna come through on the screen. I'll see them, and we'll take it from there. Okay. But studying the sales script, you want to hit it hard this weekend, meaning at least two sessions, two 1 hour sessions, so 1 hour each of you just reading through the script, right? You need to start saying this stuff out loud. Think of it as like, I know those of you in the UK probably can relate to this just in a different form. You know, over here in public schools in the United States, we're taught things like the Pledge of Allegiance, for example, where at the beginning of the day, we put our hand over our heart, we stand up, not necessarily at attention, but we stand up and we say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And it's one of those things where we said it over and over and over again for years and years and years, all through school. And that's how we learned the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, in the military, repetition was definitely how our instructors made sure that we not only understood everything, but understood the finer points of everything that we were doing and why we were being taught what we were being taught. Everything from combat tactics to safety procedures to rendering first aid, you name it. And those are all important, right, in terms of repetition. So the sales script, again, I expressed to you earlier how important it was. It's got to be the strongest link because if everything else was weak, if the sales script was solid, everything else becomes stronger because that's the strongest link, the link that needs to be the strongest. Okay, it's what links everything else together, from clients to the agency stuff that you've built. Okay, again, not that that stuff's not important. This just happens to be the most important link by far. Okay, so I want you to perform a last check on your agency setup. I want you to look at what you have left to do. Evaluate that. If you have questions on anything or something that may have roadblocked you temporarily, ask away in the comments. Come on to the Zoom live here in a second. I've got a link. I'll post that into the comments in the free Facebook group here in a minute. And tracking. That's basically what that is. But tracking should be ongoing. It's not something that should just stop. So you should have everything mapped out for the week that you're going to do, whether you're going to hit this 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, which is recommended at a minimum. Or if you because you're on lockdown, let's say, or going on lockdown, some of you maybe you want to put in more time. Maybe you can afford to put in more time because the work that you originally have or the job that you originally had doesn't really exist without you being out and about, maybe, or maybe there's a remote position, but it's fewer hours, things like that. You're definitely going to have more time to be able to devote to something like this. So take that for what it's worth. Tracking, super important. Planning, set everything up, know what you're doing. Get that done this weekend so that you know what you're doing next week. Okay. And finish anything that's not completed from the previous session. So you have today's Friday, Black Friday, actually. You have Black Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday is November 30th. It's the last day of the month. And then December 1st starts on a Tuesday, which is, by the way, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, prime days for calling, right? Everybody knows that. Monday's not bad. Friday's not bad, but they're shorter and they're different times. For example, Monday afternoon is typically better than Monday morning, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday all day, of course. Friday morning as opposed to Friday afternoon, which is a little worse because people are taking off, especially during holiday season, right? Taking off early, take it off at that 3 p.m., right? 2 p.m. if they can. Come back from lunch, work for an hour, and they're like, yeah, screw this, I'm going home, right? Or you know what, we're calling it an early day because there's not much going on. So definitely Monday afternoon through Friday morning, late morning or noon, if you will, are your best times. Does that mean Saturday is bad? No, Saturday can be good depending on the vertical. Again, a lot of the market research that you do will tell you a lot about the vertical and when business owners are actually in the office. Again, somebody was asking about that. I think it was Christina the other day. Um, some verticals are better early in the morning. Some are better later at night. Some are better middle of the day. Some are good no matter what time of day, especially something like white collar, whereas blue collar tends to be more early in the morning, middle of the day, and the evening times, right? There's like specific windows that you can hit and do very well with that. Okay. All right. Questions. Let's take a look and see what we got here. Let's see. Julian's got a lot of questions. That's good. Let me make sure that I'm not going to miss any here. Is doing voice drops via Dollar Central required to qualify for the Lego Man Award, as I will be bootstrapping and making individual cold calls and email outreach? I'll tell you this. If you're bootstrapping and you aren't able to do Dollar Central initially, then you're bootstrapping and you're doing exactly what I taught you. Because if you can't do Dollar Central initially, you're still working your way towards Dollar Central. Now, I will tell you this, if you are working your way towards Dollar Central as a bootstrapper, totally okay. Just be aware, sometime during December, you're going to want to set up Dollar Central and start running it. Otherwise, you're not in alignment ultimately with what we teach. And at some point in December, with several clients or even a few clients, you should be able to more than take care of that. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And in that case, yes, you would be following to a T, right? It would obviously be better if you were able to do that out of the gate. But again, if you're a bootstrapper, that may not be possible. Get that. I totally get that. Let's see. If I create single keyword ad groups for individual ads, if I create single keyword ad groups for individual ads instead of grouping several keywords mapped to an ad, also penalize me from getting the Lego Man Award. If I create single keyword ad groups for individual ads instead of grouping several keywords mapped to an ad, yeah, that's going to cost you. That's going to cost you because you're not doing what I teach, right? Skags is something I used to teach. And the reason I used to teach it is because it's becoming over time and has become over time less and less effective. It doesn't mean that it's a bad way to do things. It means it's not as good as what I got currently. So yeah, if you're not applying what I'm teaching you currently, then yeah, you're not going to be able to win or be eligible for the Lego Man Award. Absolutely not. Is porting an ad campaign from one Google ad account into a different client in Google shown in the Ring Ads training currently? Is porting an ad campaign from one Google ad account into a different client? I guess you mean different client account. Please be much more detailed in your questions. Whoever's asking this, is that Julian that's asking that? Yes, Julian, please take your time on asking these questions. I'm going to be here for a little bit, okay? Is porting an ad campaign from one Google ad account into a different client, I'm assuming you mean account, client account in Google, shown in the Ring Ads training currently? No, it's not. That's something that you should be able to do via the editor very, very easily. If you need help with that, come on the coaching call tomorrow and I'll do that with you live. But you're going to need the Google AdWords editor, set it up, get it going, and have your two accounts attached or added rather to the Google AdWords editor, and I'll be able to help you from there. No problem. Couple of clicks and you can actually port over any and all campaigns that you want from one ad account, Google ad account, to another. No problem. But in terms of actually having that training up yet inside of Ring Ads, no, that's not currently up. Good news is it's possible and it's super easy, and I can help you with that tomorrow. No problem. And that's tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in the main Facebook group where we do the coaching calls on the 14th and 28th, right? All right, let's see. May we create Facebook call-only ads for our clients and track the call source and Ring Ads covered in the Ring? May we create Facebook call-only ads for our clients and track the call source and Ring Ads covered in the Ring Ads software? You can do that. It is tracked. It's going to be much better tracking here soon as some of the development is released But if you're asking if it's possible, yes, it's already possible to do that, um, because it's all tracked to the phone number, right? If you're um, if you're asking, uh, call track the call source and ring ads. I'm really struggling here, Julian. Help me out, dude. You're killing me here. Um, May we create Facebook calling ads for our clients and track the call source in ring ads covered in the ring ads software? Yes. Best I can figure based on what you're asking, the answer is yes. Please be much more specific in your questions. I know you're trying to shorthand it or you're rushing it. Please take your time. Ask full questions with all the words you can put in there, okay? Because it's really a struggle for me to. You've got a lot of terminology, which is fine. That's great, actually. But there's key words that are missing. It'd be like me trying to explain how to put something together and I'm missing like 5 steps and I'm not explaining shit. So please help me out there, okay? Clem, can or will the live stream times vary so it's easier for those just starting a new job can make as many of them as possible? I started a new job on Monday. Oh, well, that's good news, Clem. That's good news for you. I know we had a talk earlier. Happy to hear that. Let's start with that first off, and then happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Hope you're having a good leftover day today for all of you out there that celebrated. Um, as far as the live stream times, I keep them as consistent as possible so that it's easier to hit. If you're telling me that 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is not gonna work for you, um, I don't know what to do other than to tell you to catch the replays, because they will be instantly posted as soon as we do a live stream. It's instantly posted as a replay inside or a recording inside of the Facebook group and all the other places that we stream, such as the Facebook, the Ring Ads Facebook page. I've got my public profile page that I'm posting these streams on as well. YouTube channel. There's reasons why I'm telling you to subscribe and be in these places because you're going to be able to see all the updated streams daily, right? So if you're not able to make them, that means at most you wouldn't be qualifying for the Show Up, Grow Up award, but big deal, right? You're still here to build the agency. I know what your level of commitment is, and I'm not worried about that, and you shouldn't be either. As long as you make the commitment to show up when you can show up and watch the recordings, and on days that you can hit the 11 a.m., hit the 11 a.m., sure. Um, and if it just makes more sense for you to not worry about that and just hit up the sessions daily at a time that's most convenient to you, then do that by all means. Just understand for the Show Up Grow Up award, you're not going to qualify for that, but that's one award. I mean, there's so much that you still qualify for that I wouldn't even be stressing about that one, right? Um, for the December dash, okay, that answers the question. Cool, good. Glad to help on that. I'm gonna grab a link now, and I'm gonna paste that into the group here, and you are free to join, free to ask questions live if you'd like, or continue asking in the comment section, and I should be able to see those pop up. I did post that link. You can see that there at the top of the comments on the, what is that, the right-hand side? Yes, right there, right there. There we go. And I'll see you come through on the waiting room. Let me grab something to drink here real quick while we're waiting. I'll give you my inspirational message that I always do.
Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Oh, I love that one. I love that one so much. All right, we'll come back to the comments here. Not sure if there are any more comments. Oh, here we go. Let me move the waiting room over there. There we go. It was two thoughts. One, can we use Facebook call only ads? Yes, 100%. And thank you for clarifying that, Julian. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Makes things so much easier. Number two, is doing so tracked in ring ads? Yes. Number three, should I use the same dial-in number with some sort of tracking extension? Simply use it. Use a new phone number. For now, use a new phone number. There are some really cool developments coming for that in the multiple platforms that I'll be training you on. But for now, use a new phone number, a new campaign, and that's really going to segment your data. You can still, the cool thing is you can actually have one company. Let's say you have a client and you've got a company account for them inside of Ring Ads, right? You can have 10 campaigns all assigned to that same client. 10, 20, 30 campaigns, multiple call ad campaigns from Google, multiple ads, ad set or not ad sets, excuse me, campaigns from Facebook. Uh, you can split test and try things out. Try out different, see what converts better on IVRs, right? You can split test that kind of stuff. All kinds of cool stuff that you can already do as is to be able to segment and track your data 100%. So thank you for clarifying that. That's how you worded that question. Not that it was bad or anything before. It was, here's the thing. When I see questions that I'm not able to fully understand and answer because there's things missing from the question, it it concerns me because I want to make sure you get the right answers, the answers that you need, right? And if you don't, then I'm going to feel bad because I know that there's probably, there could have been more. I could have elaborated more on that or given you more specifics on that. So thank you for clarifying that. Christina says she's not going to take over again today. Cool. Well, it's your choice. I mean, if you have questions, I know you did have a question earlier, Christina. I will answer that now. Let me go and find that in that other session. You left a question, or maybe it was a couple of questions. Um, I will find it. Give me 1 second. And while I do, if anybody wants to come in live and ask questions, keep in mind this is your time. Or if you just want to come in and say, hey, sometimes you sometimes it's okay just to say hello, so I know who the hell you are and what you're working on and all that kind of stuff, right? I have no problems with that. I'm not going to bite your head off. Let's see, Christina. So you asked this 8 hours ago. It seems like okay. So you wrote, I have a new question. Say I download a list of prospects and they're all in New York City and surrounding areas, 30 miles away max. There's a big chance that they all serve the same areas. I send ringless voicemails and start getting calls back. After 10 calls, I close a client. So this is theoretical. Got it. Do I stop taking the rest of the calls? And I see, Christina, you're coming into the room now, so let me add you in there. Do I stop taking the rest of the calls, or would you take on more clients in the same areas and just set up a round robin? Okay, so there's a few parts to this theoretical, this hypothetical that you've posted that I want to make very clear. So I want to make sure that you're live. You can hear me on the Zoom first because I know there's a delay between the stream and the Zoom. Can you hear me okay on the
Yep.
Zoom? Okay, perfect. Let me pull you up on the Zoom. Here we go. Hey, there we are. Okay. So first things first. I recommend you start going after cities that are 500,000 in population, or thereabouts. Don't go after LA. Don't go after New York. And I know this is a hypothetical. I'm just kind of,
Yeah.
I saw you mention New York, so I was like, oh shit. Let me make sure that we kind of steer away from New York. Not that New York's bad or anything, but high populated areas like that. So for example, California, I would stay away from initially, right? And I would grow into that. It's 30 million people in the state of California. LA is like I don't know, what is it, 13 million people or 11 million or 8 million? I don't know. It's millions of people. New York City same way, and New York State because of New York City, millions and millions of people. What I would instead do is go after cities that are lower down on that Wikipedia list. Did you look at the Wikipedia list yet?
No.
Okay, so there's a Wikipedia list on Google. If you go and search this specifically, top U.S. cities by population. Top U.S.
Okay.
cities by population. You type that in, and no, don't have to type in wiki or anything, and it will pop up as the first result. Top U.S. cities by population. You're going to see a wiki that
Okay.
shows you in order, in descending order, uh, uh, all the cities based on population. And so obviously New York and LA are going to be at the top. So if you scroll down that list, you're going to find very easily what cities I'm talking about in that 500 to a million range that are going to have significant volume, but at the same time, not places that are going to be, how do I say this? Uh, New Yorkers are New Yorkers. Nothing against them, but they're New Yorkers. They act like New Yorkers. They talk like New Yorkers. And if you don't have your shit 100% together and your confidence level, not necessarily at an all time high, but at a high point, when you get on the phone with New Yorkers, they'll eat you alive. They're proud of it. And
Okay.
again, no judgments. I'm just saying that's the cultural differences between, for example, someone that lives in the Northeast versus someone that lives in the South. In fact, if if you were to speak to someone in the South, you'd be like, wow, William speaks so fast for a Southerner. And I do, uh, because I'm trying to teach and I'm trying to pack things into very tight windows. And so you'll notice when I go 4 hours, I'm also not drawing things out. And so I just, on training, I'm hard hitting, but on the phone, I'm a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more laid back, especially if I'm prospecting. Okay. So New York, LA, stay away from, go lower down on the list. It's not going to, don't go as
Mm.
low as a quarter million, but um, stay in that 500 to a million range, 500,000 to a million range of population, and spread it out. Spread it out. That's one of the things that's going to help you diversify. So that way you're not worrying about necessarily targeting the Northeast, right? There's going to be cities like Houston and um, oh my goodness, what probably Nashville. There's a few, right? Actually, quite a few. Those are just the two that came to mind for me. Jacksonville, I think, has a million people. Just there's cities, and that's Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. And so, well, that's the South. Texas is not the South. I'm sorry if you live in Texas, you are not Southern by state. You were not part of the secession in the war between the states, or the War of Northern Aggression, as it's also commonly known. Um, sorry, I don't call it the Civil War. The Texas is not part of that. While there were battles fought in Texas and even as far as Arizona and Nevada, uh, no, you were not part of the secession. So Texas is, by my definition, it's such a big state. Most of it though is Southwest, considered Southwest. Like the left half of Texas is considered Southwest because it's open desert plain, not always desert, but definitely open plain. Open plain. Whereas East Texas is much more like the South. I mean, it's basically an extension of Louisiana, right, and Mississippi. So yeah, it's definitely got that green and wet feel to it, right? Very humid, it floods a lot, uh, green everywhere. So yeah, Texas is so damn big. It's like that. Actually, there's a few different other types of landscapes as well, but those are the two main types where Texas is kind of split as a state. But by definition, Texas is going to be more southwest, uh, especially in the bigger cities. Um, really, Texas is kind of Texas. You're going to find Texans to be friendly, proud of where they're from, not necessarily laid back on the phone, but definitely not like Northeastern uh, people are on the phone. They're going to be more like we are in the South on the phone, and that's statewide. So that's a benefit. But that's not the only state you can target. There are other states you can target that are in the Midwest, right? Chicago is probably too big, but look outside of Chicago, right? There are many cities that you can hit. Uh, Cincinnati, I mean, and that's kind of Midwest, but not really. It's more central, but still in terms of in terms of their industry and what they do. The Cincinnati's right on the river, so it's a river town. Um, there are cities like that that are going to be anything north of a quarter million, but closer to half a million to a million that are going to be good. The other thing is
So are you,
this. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, so you're saying that if I want to talk to some laid back people, I should target the South to start with?
100%, hundred
Okay,
percent.
cool.
Yeah,
Obviously, being in the UK, I have no idea,
yeah.
which
Well,
states. So
this is gonna there's
that's
gonna
a
be
great.
some. I'm gonna go and do some research for you that that you should be doing on your own, but I'm going to point out some resources for everybody that's overseas on the cultural differences here in the United States. I'm going to find
Okay.
I'm going to find some good training videos or make my own, one of the two, and I may do that anyway. Just displaying the different types of not just personalities, but just cultural differences, right? They do things up there differently than we do in the South. And same goes for out west and the Northwest. And then Southwest is a little bit different. Um, and differences between on the phone and also how they do business, because that makes it, that's going to make a big difference too. Just because they're laid back on the phone doesn't mean that they treat their business lackadaisical, right? Just means that's how they speak. Okay, so I'm gonna put something together or find something, one of the two or a combination of those, to steer you and everybody else that's not located in the United States. It's something that I've wanted to do anyway for a while. So But to continue on to answer the questions here, um, yes, there is a big chance that they all serve the same areas. It's what we call overlap, and I'm totally okay with that. What you're going to find is most clients are like, and when I say most, I mean the overwhelming majority. You'd be hard pressed to find a client that's going to be exactly the same as another client. So think of clients as or potential clients as like fingerprints or snowflakes. Okay, and I don't mean snowflakes as in like like the woke is talking about, right? The woke movement. It's not like their snowflake is in their lightweights or can't take their medicine or something. Their snowflakes is in snowflakes are individually different. Everyone is different from the last, just like a fingerprint. So think of them as fingerprints. They're completely different, meaning the hours aren't always going to match, the services and products aren't always going to match, and the service areas aren't going to match always, right? And so when you have that, um, those three overlay, you're never going to find one client that's going to match exactly another one based on service area, hours, and types of services and products they offer. Okay, it's always going to be different. So overlap is fine. Um, let's say you do send out ringless voicemails and you start getting callbacks, and you get 10 calls in, you close a client, you don't stop taking the rest of the calls. I recommend you go after 3 to 5 clients in an area. So, for example, if we were to take Houston, you'd go after 3 to 5 clients. Now, there's reasons behind that, and I'll give them to you right now just so you know what we're doing here. You don't set them up as round robin, by the way. You would set up an individual campaign to run just for them because, again, fingerprints, not duplicates. They're not duplicates of each other. They're fingerprints. They're individual. They're different. They have different needs, even. So that said, 3 to 5 clients. Why do we go after 3 to 5 clients? Do you think? Take a wild guess.
So that if one pulls out, a couple of them pull out, we've got a backup.
Not even if they pull out, right? It's not even about if they pull out. What if they're just not a fit? What if they don't answer the
Mm,
phone,
yeah.
right? Half the time, something like that, miss a bunch of calls. That's money down the drain. What if they're just not a good fit? All right, now
Okay. Makes sense.
qualifying questions from the sales script should eliminate a lot of that, but you're still going to have to learn some lessons along the way as to who is a really good fit. And you're going to know almost out of the gate at a certain point, uh, for your next several clients on, uh, who's going to be that good fit. And so you still go after 3 to 5 because, again, what if somebody's shutting down voluntarily for coronavirus or going on vacation or insert whatever, right? Like just life happens and things come up. So 3 to 5 clients, we're looking for that ideally that 1 to 2 uh, uh, clients that are the 1 to 2 clients that are the dream clients, right? The ones who take all the calls, they answer the phone, they know how to answer the phone, they're open to feedback and also improvement. They give you good information. They're good on their communication skills. They're not total d holes or assholes on the phone to you or to anyone. Um, they love what they do. They are grateful for your service. They re-up with you. Those are the folks we're after. But in order to find them, we're not always going to find them on the first time out. Sometimes we will, but we're not always going to find them on the first time out, right? So that's why 3 to 5. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
So,
great question you asked, by the way. It's a great little thing
but
there.
another question, just because I don't know much about Google Ads. Actually, I've never done them.
Okay.
Um, so if I take on three clients from Houston, okay, for example,
Yes.
and they happen to have the same sort of hours and same sort of services, so I will create three campaigns. So if someone searches for vertical Houston, all those three ads will appear for them. Okay.
It's
Um,
possible. That's possible, but
okay.
not likely. And even
But
if
won't
it
they
does, what's your question?
won't they compete against each other, and then the
Yes, they will.
basically the bidding will be higher in the campaigns?
No.
No,
Yes,
okay.
they will compete against each other, but you're talking about impression share. For one thing, starting out, your impression share is going to be low, and your goal is to grow that over time, right? And I don't mean extended periods of time, but to grow it over time, you're looking for growth and capturing more impressions in that area that are served. And Google bases that metric off of a percentage, so it's called impression share percentage of. So until you're at 80% impression share, okay, you're not really dominating that market at all. And so if you had 3 clients versus 1 client in that area for the same vertical, are you doing better or worse in that area as a business?
Better.
Better, way better. You got 3 times the ads out. Now, the way we don't have to worry about the bidding war, why we don't have to worry about bids going skyrocketing, is because we do things on a what? Below first page bid strategy. And if you don't know what that is, it's covered in the guides, but I'm also going to cover it in depth in some of the updated training. And as we go along, if there's time through the December Dash, if you're on and we have time, like for example at the end of the call, and you want to do a screen share, we can do it right here in Zoom, and I'll take a look at your campaigns with you. I have no problems doing that. I do that on coaching calls all the time as well. So yeah, like we'll get you sorted, no problem. I just don't want you to think that all your campaigns are going to compete against each other and raise the bids sky high. That makes no sense because you're not the only player in Houston for that vertical. Guarantee it, right? Which means you're competing against others out of the gate. So for you to have 3 campaigns up in Houston, you that's prime positioning for you because you're going to catch more of those phone calls, at least to one of those clients, than none of them, right? You got 3 times as many chances to catch that phone call as someone else does, right? Unless they have 3 clients, which in most cases they don't. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. It's a good question. I see where your head's at. It's not the first time I've been asked that. A lot of people think that because a lot of people are used to the idea of, well, it's an auction, and so in Google Ads, and so it's going to make the bid higher and higher and higher, and that's how everybody else bids. We have a very structured bidding strategy that we use. That we don't just because something falls below the first page bid or below eligibility for first page, showing our ad on the first page, we don't immediately go and bump that. So we're not constantly. That's good news for you because we're not constantly looking at campaigns in that form. Because if we were, we'd go batshit crazy after like 5, 10 clients, right? And that's what most people end up doing is if they're going that way with the bidding strategy. So it's a good question,
Okay.
um,
Thank you.
but just be aware it actually has very little impact on the negative side, very positive impact if you have multiple clients for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Because that was a good question, but did you have anything else that's come up since then? It's been a few
I
hours.
do. I do have another question.
Shoot.
Um, so you said about population 500,000 to 1 million, but say I
To
have a
start.
prospect.
To start.
Yeah, yeah. Say I have a prospect who is in a town with 100,000 population, which is 10 miles away from a city that is 600,000. Do I
Okay.
still talk to this person as long as they serve that other big city?
Yeah, if their service area includes
Okay.
a large populated city, absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
And most likely you're going to find a lot of businesses that are located in not necessarily suburbs, but uh, think townships. It can also be labeled as a suburb. So, for example, Houston has a few of them like Katy or Sugarland, where just by itself would produce business, but not as much as if someone covered Sugarland and Houston. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Because Houston is so big. So if you look at like, and one of the great things about this is you're going to be able to see a lot of cool stuff from Google Maps. Um, so if you don't know, let's say this, like there's a reason why I tell you to target 5 to 10 cities at a time, because you can go through right now on Google Maps, determine your 5 to 10 cities based off of that wiki that I just gave you, right? And go and look at them on Google Maps and say, okay, this is a big metro area. They've got interstates that circle it, also probably known as a loop. And then here's all these townships or suburbs, what would be considered outlying from Houston, but really they're their own, like they have their own water uh, treatment, they have their own everything. So it's basically a town. In a lot of cases, they have their own police even, right? Or at least constables, right? So people that run around and take care of things without having to tap Houston's um, or tap into Houston's, for example, police force and township. So the Houston city limits probably stops before it gets to Katy and Sugar Land, which it does, and they have their own city limit. But if you look at it in a zoomed out map, it's pretty much an extension of what Houston is. Like many people that live in Katy and Sugar Land, for example, work in Houston. Like they just commute, if that makes sense. For some reason, in the States, we love to drive 30 to 45 minutes or an hour or more to a job and back. I don't know why, but uh, the commute has been something that we've always uh, satirized and made fun of over here for decades now. You know, like it's not a new thing. So yeah, looking at cities like that, you're going to be able to see, okay, if if this person serves uh, the outskirts of Houston but not downtown metro, then it's more than enough population wise to consider them as Houston and just exclude metro, Houston metro.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool. Thank you.
cool. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, good questions. All good questions. I like where your head's at. I see what you're working on, so that's good. Have you run into any roadblocks or anything that you need help with?
Um, Really, I'm about halfway through the setup.
Tell me what you got. Tell me what you got done. Let's start there.
So I'll pick the domains, business name, ring ads all set up. The
Good,
test account is set up.
good,
Um, I've done the intake form for Dial Centra.
good. Have you
Um,
spoken to anybody over there yet?
they haven't gotten back to me, but I'm not pressuring them because of Thanksgiving and all. I'm
Today would
assuming that.
today would probably be a good day. I'm just throwing that
Okay.
out there. Today's actually not considered a holiday.
Okay.
Yesterday, oh shit, I see Clem and Julian. Clem and Julian, I see you in the waiting room. Give me 1 second. I just looked over there. uh, Sorry, go ahead, Christina. So yeah, the don't worry about that so much. Friday is actually a pretty good day. It's gonna be a pretty good day. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I just need to set up like scraping. I've got a Google Ads account, but I don't have an MCC account, so I need to look at that.
Okay.
Um,
No rush on
but
that.
yes,
No rush on that. Like you can have
okay.
clients and not have to worry about that. And it's something we can set up together, no problem. And again, training will be showing you how to do that. So no worries on
So
that if
you're
you don't have
saying I can just have the normal Google Ads account to
for
start
now.
with?
For
Oh,
now,
okay.
yeah, yeah. And I'll show you how to create an MCC and then how to link your existing ad account that you currently have to the MCC. You can do that as well, and it's very straightforward. Couple of clicks, no problem. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Okay.
So anything
Um,
else? What else are you? What do you have on your to-do list?
Um, I still need to do the market research. Is all this stuff that I will be doing these next few days because I will be off work tomorrow and Sunday. So
Good, good.
my worry is the market research, just because with the vertical that I've chosen,
Hmm.
I don't know how I will manage to talk to 20 business owners. But
How do you figure you don't know how you'll be able to talk to them? What's the challenge?
well, I guess I'll do some Google search first, but in my head, I'm just looking how things work in the UK and how big these companies would be. But
Okay.
maybe in the US, it's different. Well, I've chosen towing.
Totally.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So I just I need to understand how big these companies are.
Well, you're going to find it varies very much
Mm,
so. You're going to find everything from one guy with a truck
okay.
all the way up to guys that have 50 to 100 trucks and offer fleet service and things like that. Um, and it just depends on the areas that you target. But I'll tell you right now, you target 500,000 to a million population cities, and you're going to find not only a lot of call volume for that vertical, you're going to find a lot of providers because the demand is so great that they stay busy. They stay busy,
Okay.
even in coronavirus. Okay, I had a guy who got set up on in that vertical specifically, and did so in March, which I don't know if you know what March was for us here in the States, but that was like massive shutdown time. And this guy was delivering phone calls at a profit to his clients at almost a 3-to-1 return, meaning for every dollar he spent on ads, he was making three back for his from his
Nice.
clients. Yeah, not too bad of a profit return during Corona when everybody else is going, holy shit, what am I going to do? Right? This guy was turning them out. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's like, I mean, you don't see that very often, right? Not every vertical is going to do that, but again, that's why I told you to go and look at vertical selection in COVID, and it looks like you did that because you picked the vertical,
I
and
did, yeah.
you didn't take too long to do it. That's good. So good on you for that. Um, Cool. Yeah. So that's now getting a hold of business owners is not going to be a problem,
Okay.
or at least office managers. Remember, office manager and up. You're not trying to sell somebody, right? You're just trying to get that information. That's all the market research is. Now, I'll tell you right now, you're going to want to. Weekends are pretty good, by the way. So
Mm.
if you're close to finished on your setup for the rest of your setup, I would seriously consider uh, using the weekend and Monday for market research, nailing that down, and also spending time on the sales script so that you can transition next week right into uh,
Yeah.
competing in the December dash. Like you're set perfectly to be able to nail everything. That's great. So
Yeah. I would also like to start getting some calls so I can get some recordings to put on my agency site.
yeah,
Um, so
try
I need to set up a
set up a
campaign over the
campaign.
weekend.
Yeah, setting up a campaign over the weekend. Yeah.
I'll be busy.
Okay. 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 No worries on that. If you do you are you in Ring Ads Classic?
Classic, yeah, for now,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So building campaigns, you're going to look at part two, part two guide of
Yeah.
the, okay. That's going to have a pretty good overview of how to build the campaigns. And some of the screens have changed a little bit, but in terms of function, all they did was just move. So it's all in the same place, just it looks a little different. That's all. But still very much the same thing. Okay. There are some things that are different on the campaign as you optimize, but that's stuff that we can cover as you get built up and get going. It's not going to matter so much for a fake client, for a flyant, for example. And you're going to find it's going to be very easy for you to drive phone calls for sure. There's no doubt in my
Okay.
mind. Yeah. So
Fingers crossed.
no,
Thank you.
no, no, not necessary. It's not necessary to cross the fingers. I already know it. All right. I've already seen it. I already know it. It's just a matter of whether and when, if and when you get it done. That's it. That's all there is to it. I
Okay.
promise. I promise. All right, cool. Well, I've got Julian and Clem, and I know we're running a few minutes over, so I want to make sure that I talk to them for a second and take care of them. Um, Julian, did you want to go first, or Clem, or
I'm ready if he's not William.
okay? Is this Clem?
Yes, it's
Hey,
Clem.
bud.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. First of all, I kind of knew how things were going to go, and I did wind up getting started. But the drawback being was I had to stop what I was doing because I had to travel to get to where the site was and everything.
I got
So
you.
I did do a cram on getting all the videos that you've done this week regarding the preparation and everything
Okay.
before I actually got on this actual call.
Okay.
So I do have to go back and do some changes because initially, when we spoke, we were looking at the vertical, and I did decide that I was going to do the moving.
Okay.
And so I got the domains and everything. I think I'm going to have to change the mailgun setting that I had set up because I had that for that. I think it was the attorney, but I can go back in there and make that change.
Okay.
I was
Should be
just
easy.
thinking about what the population uh, for the city. I heard you speaking with Christina about the, what they should target with doing the, reaching out. I guess it might have been part of the market research because I was still doing that, and I noticed it was like night and day with talking to the blue collar as opposed to the white collar, like you said.
Right?
And
I told you it was going to be a
I
cakewalk, didn't I?
yeah, I must also say that that was it was gold. That nugget that you gave me regarding, going after, people on the Pacific time in that time zone,
Right.
because
Right.
that just, makes it so that I do have things that I can be doing after I get off work. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
5:30 my time. I still got time to get the necessary 1 to 2 hours in every day. You know,
And still have
um,
family time.
exactly.
I mean,
And then,
it may be reduced, but it's not going to be non-existent. And that's what I'll tell you right now. Not that I understand women, so take this with a grain of salt. Okay, I'm just going to do my best here. I come from a place of how can I be the best partner I can be. If I'm married, how do I be the best? How do I be the best husband I can be? And it doesn't mean you have to be super dad, uh, but at the same time, how do you do the things that are not even expected of you as a partner, but that a good partner would do or be able to do? And that is spend time with me, spend time with my children, and spend time with us, and provide. Right? Those are like the absolute basics in my mind, and it's more about quality than quantity. So, and I'm not saying that you're going to be Elon Musk in this sense, but Elon's got this process when he's dating where he asks her how much time she needs. And most women aren't prepared for that because they're used to just give me what you got as opposed to any kind of structure. Not that I'm not judging you ladies. I'm just saying that's typically how things go versus how someone who comes at it from an approach of structure, like a lot of successful guys I know do what's called date night, and it's a dedicated night. Doesn't mean that it's the only night of the week. It just means it is a for sure lock that is date night, and nothing interrupts, nothing gets in the way, and showing her that kind of dedication, and same for your children, right? Those kinds of things. Um, Easier said than done. I understand that, uh, but you do what you can, and as long as you know that you're consistently doing what you can, as you build this business, things are going to get a lot better for you, a lot faster for you. But you don't have to sacrifice everything in order to make this happen. And that's one of the many things that I love about the model. So I want you to take that to heart and not pressure yourself. Okay. I've seen people do this where they totally shut off from the family to try and get this up and running, get this up and running. And they do it, but then they end up with a business and nobody to really share it with. You know what I
mm,
mean? And
yeah,
I don't want you to be that guy. Don't be that guy. Be the guy who becomes super dad basically.
right,
Because
right.
super dad runs a big business. Super dad takes care of the kids and spends time with them. Super dad has dedicated date night and then some, and all the time in the world seemingly, right? Like that's what you're growing towards. So um, hopefully that makes sense. Don't worry about necessarily,
Yeah.
I hear you, not necessarily beating yourself up, but I do hear it's like, oh, I didn't have time to do this and I struggled to do that. And it's like, and I hear Christina say things like fingers crossed and I hope, and you got to remove hope from the equation. Hope is like, how do I best say this? Hope is, I'm going to have to go find some hope quotes. Um, Hope is not a bad thing, but I would much prefer the word like faith, even if you're like non-religious, right? Or you just don't believe, um, or you believe and it doesn't really coincide with your beliefs. Uh, Faith, faith is not exclusive to religion. Okay, so having faith in something is a much better mindset and state that you can be in as opposed to hope or beating yourself up about I didn't have time, I didn't get this done, I didn't focus on what you got done. This is where your tracking, by the way, comes in handy, Clem. And
That's
I'm
what another thing I wanted to ask you
okay.
was about tracking.
Go for it.
Was it a spreadsheet? Um, and if so, where do I get that? I was trying to go back because I have a folder created with all the things that I need to do for ring ads,
Okay.
and I've um, started just going into that folder because I sure have quite a few shiny objects that I'm trying to make sure that I don't do anything else with. I just go to that folder, and if everything is there, I'm not, being sidetracked by the other things.
Makes
So
perfect sense.
um,
I'll
I
tell you
just need
this:
to know where to
COVID
put down.
COVID client challenge inside of the Ring Ads training videos area. Look for bonus COVID client challenge. In there, I show you my tracking sheet.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And there's a couple of updates I need to do to my tracking sheet, and then I'll make that public for everybody. So you'll get a copy of it eventually, but in the meantime, you can make your own just like I did. And I actually make it right in front of you on those sessions. So you can fast forward through parts of that and see a very good detailed overview of what it is that I tracked,
Okay.
especially towards the end. Like, hey, here's what all the stuff I tracked, and it's marked as green if it's done. And for some reason, you start seeing a lot of green on the screen. It's like, man, I'm really moving. You know what I mean? It can
Yeah.
take a
Yeah.
totally shit day and turn it into something really good because it's like, well, I actually have most of all the stuff done or all the stuff done. So now it's time to prospect. I'm at that stage. So yeah, that's tracking. And again, I will get copies of that posted up there, but I wanted to make some improvements on the sheet itself to make it easier to use for people. And in the meantime, though, you can look at those videos and see very clearly, uh, watch me create it, or you could just fast forward to a point where I covered at the beginning of one of the day sessions and show what I have left to do, and it's itemized in full, right?
Okay.
So you won't miss a beat.
Okay. Yeah. I do have to get a Google MCC account set up.
Again, not as much pressure or emphasis on that at the moment. It's cool if you can do it. If you can't, then I'd much rather you spend time focusing on because if you have an ads account, you're fine. I'd much rather you spend time focusing on things like studying the sales script, getting your market research done, setting up every piece of the agency, so that when next week starts, you're going to be able to spend the time that you need to spend on that, and then when it comes time for us to, because it's not a requirement, it's just helpful to have it. So as you start getting clients in, it's going to be like, yeah, Clem, we should probably set up your MCC account. And you'll be like, okay, what's that look like? And it's a one and done thing. So once it's set, you're done.
Okay.
And so yeah, it'll be super easy, and it's not something you have to focus on right this second in order to get clients in and to serve those clients either. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's lower
I don't.
lower on the list.
Okay. Now I don't have ClickFunnels. I did
Okay.
at one point, but it's a different alternative. It's Neil Napier. He has a funnel system that is, a lot less expensive.
Okay.
So I'm using that. I One of the things that it does, it enables you to import funnels. So I did
Okay.
get the funnel, but I will need to make the changes too, because the funnel was the pest control.
Yes. So you just
So
change out the images, change out the wording. The wording that
yeah,
only really changes there for the most part is going to be the words pest control. So if you do like are you on a Windows computer?
yes, I am.
So Control F and then type in pest, and it'll show you everything on that page that says pest control, and you can just go in and replace that with your
Replace
vertical.
that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and make sure it reads right, make sure it makes sense. But that's pretty much what you're doing across the board, and then change out the imaging, uh, change out the phone number for contact, add your login button to the back office, um, all that kind of stuff. Right? Very simple, very basic stuff. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to be working on that tonight. I hope to have all the changes done with that and have that ready to go. I did get the two domains for the moving, and I just got to make sure that I put the right one with uh, the one with the agency, and then
Yeah.
the one for the calls and everything, and have that sorted correctly, so that everything is a go. So
Cool.
I think I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'll
Sounds like
be
it. Sounds like
working
it.
on my sales call script. I mean, it's not difficult now at all for the market research. I just have to get enough of the calls where I'm talking to the people that have actually, had some experience with paying for calls, because it seemed like everybody that I talked to, they hadn't at this point. So
How many people have
I'm
you spoken
still.
to?
I've spoken to 7 of them, and they all, first they're thinking that it's a sales type thing, and I reassure them, no, look, I'm just doing the research at this point. And some of them were, they were open to the idea. So I'll definitely have to go back and, um, you know, after I do the research and everything, I can contact them again to present it. So hopefully during the dash, all of that will sort itself and turn
Here's the
into.
here's the biggest thing, Clem, on market research calls. You have to be very adamant about not selling anything. I wouldn't necessarily say research. I would say exactly what's on the script, which is that you're expanding into this vertical. You deliver phone calls for a living, right?
Mhm.
Um, that's gonna and then reemphasize that you're not there to sell them anything. You just have a
Mhm.
couple quick questions for them about, and as you get answers to the question, you're going to find that they open up and give you more detailed answers.
Mhm.
Most times, people's knee-jerk reaction will be, "Yeah, no, we've never done anything like that before," even if they have. I'm not saying all of those people are liars. I'm saying some of them are, 100%.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, it's much easier for people that uh, don't lie to lie on the phone. I don't know if you know that or not, but
Yeah.
people lie on the phone, man, big time, big, because of all the phone calls that they get. They don't want anybody wasting their time. And so, if you explain to them what it is that you're there to do, and you're not trying to, um, it's kind of like, all the polls for the election, no matter how you voted, doesn't matter. But all the polls for the election were completely skewed again, even worse this time than in 2016, right? And they were just
Mhm.
way off. How could that be? And this and that. And it's because people that were voting for Trump didn't want to speak to anybody that would out them or potentially ask them questions or exclude their data intentionally. They knew that was going to happen. So
Mhm.
they just headed off at the pass and say, I'm not voting, or um, I'm undecided, or whatever. They would just lie because it's much easier
Yeah.
for them to lie to someone they don't know, they don't have any connection with, and they justify it by. I say people tend to justify lying to people they don't know as in stranger danger, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know you, so I'm just going to lie. And if anybody ever confronts me on it, I can be like, well, you were a complete stranger to me. I lied to you. Of course I did, for my own safety. But we're talking about stupid stuff like who you're going to vote for. And I say stupid stuff, not exactly stupid, but I mean simple stuff that's not compromising your personal privacy data or anything like that. You know what I mean? And it's not like somebody asks you for your social security number. You know what I mean? But yet
Yeah.
people will still easily lie uh, about uh, about who they're voting for or who they're not voting for or if they're voting at all. Um, and same goes for if they've received phone calls, if they've bought phone calls before, if they like their phone call provider that they currently have or don't have, if they even knew that was possible, all those things, all those things. If they feel as if you're there to sell them something, that's going to get triggered every time. So it's important for you to mention it at least twice in the script. Listen, I'm not trying to sell you anything, and I emphasize not. And then I
Mhm.
go through, tell them what I'm doing. I'm expanding into this vertical. I deliver phone calls for a living. Again, I'm not trying to say, and I say it like not like an asshole, but I definitely make sure they hear me. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
raise my voice a little bit. Again, I'm not trying to sell you anything, so that like they get the idea. Okay, he's not trying to sell anything, and then I move right into the first question without pause. And I'm not I don't sound like an interrogator when I ask the questions either. I use words and phrases like share with me, and you might want to write some of these down. It's recorded, so you can write it down later too. But share with me. Tell me a little bit about just a ballpark, roundabout. I always like
Yeah.
roundabout. That works for good old boys, right? Roundabout, Right about how many, right? And for some reason, a word like reckon. I know it's improper English, but if I'm talking to somebody from the South or someone that I know is going to know that word, I'm going to say it because when you hear somebody say that, what's your reaction when you hear somebody say reckon I ought to go get started? Like what's your do you even associate anything to that, or is it just like you're talking to a buddy of yours?
Well, when they use terms like that, all the defenses are down. You've
100%,
been invited into
right?
their reality.
And so it's like when I say words like, and again, I don't say them all the time, but when I do say them, it's on purpose. So I have control over that. It's kind of funny.
I guess.
It's like I can be as southern as I need to be. And this is, by the way, this is me in my natural state. So I'm like, if you notice, I speak fast, but I'm not. I don't forget where I come from, right? Like, I got
Hmm.
manners and all that. So yes or no, sir, all that, right? Hold the door still. So chivalry in my mind is not dead. All those
That's
things
right.
still very much exist in my heart and in my mind, but I speak faster than most Southerners do, and I tend not to speak as unprofessionally nationwide. Like if I were to be speaking right now to someone in California, they might be like, I can hear an accent, but he actually knows what he's talking about, right? They hear the intelligence level and they're like, I'm going to keep talking to this guy because something's different, right? That's what I want. Whereas if I'm talking to someone in the South, it just gets turned right back on. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird. Anytime I go back home 2 3 days, even in Florida, my accent gets heavy, heavy. Oh my God. Anytime I'm super happy, super mad, um, super sad, any kind of extreme emotion, you're going to hear my accent really, really come out. Um, and same goes for just being back home. The point is, if you have that, use it to your advantage, right? If you have that, use it
Right.
to your advantage. For those of you in the UK, you actually have an advantage of being the most trusted accent in the world. By the way, even if you don't know jack shit about what you're talking about, you sound like you do. It's called Queen's English. It's
But I'm
great.
Italian.
Right. Well, you still have the accent though. You still have the accent more or less. Like if I were to not know anything about you and hear you over the phone, I would pick up hints of the UK accent, 100%.
Okay,
100%.
cool.
So, and that's good for you. That's an advantage for
Yeah.
you. Southerners are the second most trusted accent in the world.
Mm.
Second most. That's because I feel like most people feel like we're too damn dumb to be able to pull something over on somebody. So we must be, by God, we must be telling the truth, right? Like that's the differences, but they still serve the same purpose if you notice. They still serve the same purpose, meaning they're very trusted, highly trusted. Does that mean only Southerners and people across the pond succeed with this model? No. It just means you do have a slight advantage over others that have other types of accents. Someone from New York might have difficulty trying to sell services to someone from Alabama. Just based on accent alone, they might get completely turned off by that. It's entirely possible, which means you've got to be aware of that and deal with it, work with it. And it does take practice. It does take work. Can it be done? Yes. I talk to New Yorkers, not all the time, but when I do pretty well. I won't say I do as well as maybe another New Yorker would do, but I do pretty well. They tend to talk over top of each other. They tend to finish each other's sentences practically, and especially if they know where you're headed with something. So they're very quick paced. They don't have time to bullshit around. So I don't use any of my expressions or stories. Uh, I don't use words like reckon, obviously. So there's a lot of things I don't do when I'm speaking to someone from the Northeast, even someone like Boston. I'll tell you right now, people from the Boston area just they're so quick to tell you to fuck off or go fuck yourself. It's just something
Yeah.
about that place that brings it out of them. I don't know what it is, and it really doesn't matter at this point as long as you know that and they don't actually mean it in most cases as a complete negative. It's actually more of like a shit test, right? Which you know what a shit test is, right?
What's that?
The shit test is like they're shit testing you to see they're throwing shit your way to see how you handle it.
Okay.
So if
Yeah.
they say fuck off, right, they don't actually mean to fuck off, or they don't mean as much offense as was given. Maybe a little in their mind, but that's just how they speak. That's just how they think, right? They're shit testing you without even shit testing you. They want to see if you are full of shit, and if so, then it's click, right? The phone clicks. But if it's not, and you come right back, it's like, okay, he's got something. But they're not just going to say, oh, hey, wait a minute, he's got something here. They're not just going to say
Hmm.
that outright, not initially, right? So you'll
I
go from
guess.
a fuck off scenario to to end up doing business with the guy, and you'd be like, man, I really didn't think that was going to go that way, right? But it ended up, and I'm not saying everybody in Boston talks that way. I'm just saying there's an attitude, even almost a layer of sarcasm that's just completely different up there than even from New York. Completely different. But I tend to lump everybody in the Northeast together because people from Boston tend to talk a little bit faster, tend to think a little bit faster, uh, want you to get to the point. Don't They don't relate at all really to expressions, fucked up Southern words, right? Like they just don't relate there. And if you say those things, and speak that way, they're triggers instantly for those people. They instantly think redneck. They instantly think redneck, uh, inbred, don't know no better. That doesn't mean they won't do business with you either, especially if you've got something that's really good, right? But that's instantly their thought. They may even talk to their buddy later and be like, "Yeah, I got this redneck that delivers phone calls down. He's somewhere down south, you know." Like that's the best Boston accent I got, which is horrible. Uh, he delivers calls and he's somewhere down south. That's how they'll say it. That he's somewhere in the fucking south. That's how they'll probably say it to their buddies or to their friends. I don't know where he's at. He's somewhere in the south, right? That's what they're going to say to each other because that's how they talk. That's how they, and they don't mean any offense, by the way. I think that's most of the time. Most of the time they don't mean offense. It's a generalization, I know, but again, it's just a difference in culture and how we speak to each other. And it is different in the U.S. And I know you know that, but this is also for people like Christina and everybody else that may not know that. Um, so yeah, blue collar is going to work. Is going to be more seamless, let's say, for your learning curve. But that doesn't mean that white collar is off limits in terms of going after that business. It just means, man, when you have, let's say you have a vertical that you're going after right now, you're going after moving, you get 50 clients, 100 clients. Um, you really know this business and you're expanding into a white, let's say you go back to bankruptcy attorneys, right? You expand
Mhm.
into a white collar profession. You're going to have so much experience and your teeth cut so well that when you are ready to start even your market research and confidence levels behind it, that they're going to be able to pick up right away, even if you misstep on some of these things, right? But if you're aware of them now, and you course correct over time. Like you pick up 50 clients, but they're not all in the South, for example. Some of them are going to be Midwest, and then you learn how they are, right? And then some of them are West Coast. Now you're starting West Coast, so West Coast is a little bit different. It's a hodgepodge, so that's not a bad
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah. I was actually stationed at Travis Air Force Base
Okay, okay. So
back
you
in
know the
the day.
deal.
So yeah.
Being
So
in the
it's
service
been,
helps, by the way, and thank you for your service. I served at Nellis actually, in Eglin as well.
oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I was in the
Well,
Air
thank you
Force.
for
Were
your
you
service.
were you enlisted?
Yeah, I was a aircraft electrician.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I
I
worked on the C-5 141s and the F-15s.
oh, and the F-15s. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. And you were at Travis. Got it. Um,
Yeah.
how many years?
Well, actually, the Graham-Rudman Defense Spending Cutback Bill came, and it
Uh,
was either I was on an extended tour in Okinawa, and when that came
oh,
along, I either had to re-enlist right then or get out,
I got you.
and I decided to go ahead and get out. Um, you know,
Boy,
and
Okinawa. That must have been fun.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the thing about being there was, we did a lot of temporary duty assignments. So,
right.
I did get
TDYs.
to
Yeah.
travel extensively. Philippines, the mainland, Japan, Korea. So
Well, that's
it
nice.
wasn't all there on the rocks. So
Well, there's nothing, again, Japan, I mean, your cost of living is twice as much over there as what it is here. So but you also get like twice the base housing allowance, right?
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff, and you get actually an additional these days anyway. You get an additional like payment, so it helps a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
But in exchange for being able to travel like that, that must have been a lot of fun. So yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Here's my point. If you've been in the service, again, not a requirement to sell in this business and sell well, but if you've been in the service, you've met all kinds of people, good and
Absolutely.
bad, friendly and unfriendly, good at their job and bad at their job, and all the combinations in between. You've met officers that you wouldn't trust you wouldn't trust them with a potato gun, and you've met enlisted that you'd followed to the ends of the earth, or
Right.
NCOs to the end of the earth, and that's the thing. You've dealt with the dynamics that most people, I say most because it's overwhelming numbers show that most people haven't served. I'd say at least 90%, right? Because our current
Mm.
active military is like what 1% of our population. It's like 3 or 4 million, right?
Yeah.
So that's like
It's low.
it's low. It's like 1% actually of all the military. And then if you active duty, I'm talking. And then if you look at veterans, people who have served, that goes up maybe a few percent, right? But it's definitely
Hmm.
not more than 10%
Right.
over the course. So you're talking like 90+%. 1 out of 10, 9 out of 10 people have not served, meaning the experiences that you have, leverage it, use it if you have it. And it doesn't
Right.
mean for everybody that served U.S. great, but if you've served anywhere you've been. There's a lot of leadership lessons, a lot of having to work with people and learning how to work with people that you don't enjoy working with or enjoy even being next to, and how to do that and do it successfully to complete the mission. By the way, there's a lot of challenges and things that I guarantee that you're going to be able to bring into um, what you're doing. So I appreciate you sharing with me the fact that you're former military, like because it gives me a chance to say thank you for your service, but also because of what I can point out to you from my direct experience and how you can leverage your past experiences into this business. 100%, no doubt. Um, there's if you were servicing C5s and 141s and F-15s, uh, you have an understanding of what a MICAP is, right?
My cap.
Yeah. Like if there's a
Mm.
part broken down or you need to replace a part on a jet or a plane and you got
Yeah.
to get it
They.
delivered in from supply, right?
Yeah.
And it's called a MICAP,
Yeah. Well, we
right?
would do. There was some things that they would do because if it took any time longer than right now,
Correct.
you would have to. They call it canning or
Cannibalization.
cannibalization.
Yeah.
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 Cannibalization is your first option, I would think. But then there's also something called MICAP, which is mission capable, right? And it's a
Okay.
priority
Yeah.
level for getting you guys the stuff, right?
Okay.
And MICAP means you have to have it within 24 hours. So
Okay.
cannibalization is definitely an option, but and maybe it's different nowadays. But this was as of like 10 years ago. I don't know when you served, but
Yeah. I was just thinking that times have
it's
changed.
probably times have changed. But you know what, my cap and can but the fact that I knew about cannibalization should tell you a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I look at okay, so cannibalization is definitely an option. Um, in fact, it's a go-to if there's nothing available in the parts warehouse. Let's say it like that, or
Hmm.
supply. And supply also has this priority process on their end where they have different levels of priority. And the top level of priority, priority A, is mission capable, right? MICAP
Okay.
for short.
Yeah.
Okay, and that means it's got to be as soon as we get it in from like FedEx or UPS or whoever delivered the part, right, to us in supply, we would have to actually look at that and go, okay, this is a MICAP. We have to sort everything immediately because there's priority A's and then there's B's and
Hmm.
C's. B's and C's don't have to go out right away. Priority A, they got to go out. Like
Right.
they don't even get shelved. They go directly to the plane,
Hmm.
right? Like that kind of
Gotcha.
priority, less than
Hmm.
24 hours. And so MICAP is actually um, now that we kind of understand that and have that same language, and now everybody else kind of has that language. There's levels of priorities in certain things on your to-do list. Like even your current tracking list and to-do list, they're the MCC account, for example, is not a MyCap. That's not a priority A. That's like a priority C, right? It's not required even
Mm-hmm.
to have it up and running before you have clients in. So
Got you.
helpful, yes, but not a requirement, and it's not going to um, hurt your performance. Does that make sense? Not having it.
Yes.
So it's kind of like you're missing a flip a switch that you've ordered for the plane that doesn't control the landing gear, right? It controls like
Yeah.
something. Maybe it's a placeholder switch that broke and it's not even actually connected to anything. So yeah, it would be nice to have something to fill that little space, but it actually is connected to nothing, so it doesn't matter, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the level of priority it is versus a switch that needs to be that activates the landing gear, for example. That would be priority A. That's my cap. Got to have it, otherwise this plane ain't landing next time. So
Yeah.
uh, start prioritizing what you have. Most of it's priority A on the setup, and then once we get you going on the acquisition, you're going to have to learn to prioritize on, and we'll have conversations about this in the future. So that's good that we're having it now as well. There's going to be things that you're going to be able to prioritize on my cap level or priority A, B, C, and so on, and just work what you can when you can. And obviously, if as long as you're working on the priority A's, then and that's all you have time for, and you got to go back to work, well, B and C will be there, and they're important and they're on your list and they'll get done when they get done. But if you have priority A's come in the next day, you got to take care of them first. Priority A goes first, no matter what, and then work your way down to the B's and C's, right? So
Right.
hopefully that makes sense. Um,
Yeah. And as far as the prioritizing for population wise cities, what would you recommend as far as starting with to, ensure the type of call volume to start out with?
500,000 to a million. Start
Okay.
there. It's not too, think of it as Goldilocks. I call them Goldilocks cities. They're not too big and they're not too small. They're just right. They're
Okay.
just right. Okay.
All right.
Not to bring fairy tales into it, but I just did.
I understand. I
Okay.
understand.
Anything on your mind? Any burning questions?
No, I'm gonna go ahead. Like I said, I'm gonna spend today, tomorrow, and I got to get everything to where it's a go. I mean, not even so much as even the ad setup. I mean, I have the account set up already, but if I'm going the route of getting a client, I can build the ad campaign out. So whether it's in our mentorship or what have you, I'll try to utilize those resources as best I can.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm trying to prioritize what I need to do, the first things first, and then things that are not going to be showstoppers, they can go down the line a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do that, and a good model for that is the COVID Client Challenge videos. By the way, not that you have to watch them all to start, because they will take some time to process. But if you go through and start looking at segments of where I cover the tracking sheet and talk about what I'm doing next and why I'm starting with that, while this stuff XYZ needs to be done before we move on to client acquisition and what's left to be done and why it doesn't matter as much. Um, I do have several points throughout several days where I talk about those and cover it again and again because I wanted to reiterate how little is actually required in the scheme of things before you're before you're acquiring clients, right? And continue building
Mhm.
on what you're building. So you do that. It sounds like you've got a good game plan. I'm very happy for you with the new job. It sounds like a weight has been lifted off of you. I can actually hear it. And I wanted
Absolutely.
to congratulate you on that. I'm sure that the significant other is happier about that as well, and
Yeah.
it won't be long before she's starting to see movement on this and go, man, you're just firing on all eight there, Clem. Like what's going on? What's going on, buddy? When's our date night? Okay, my man.
Yeah.
You
All
keep
right. I
pushing on it.
appreciate it, William.
You keep pushing on
Thanks,
it. I'll
man.
be here for you. Okay.
All right, I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye for now, bud.
Bye.
Julian, you're on here twice, but I see that you're on here. That's the main thing. What's up?
So I have three questions. Two are related and they're tactical, and one is a concern.
Two are
So I'll
related.
ask
Two are what? Sorry?
two are related and tactical,
Tactical. Got it. Okay.
and one is a concern.
A concern. Okay.
Let's go with the tactical questions first.
Okay.
So, would you target businesses that are already running desktop ads on Google, but are not running call-only mobile ads?
My answer is I've never taught to target that way. However, yeah, I mean, anytime a business can use more business, that's who I'm gonna do business with. So that's a way to find out who's already spending money for sure. Um, Even if they are spending money on call ads, it doesn't mean that they're not open to doing business with you. If they say they already do something like that, say that's not the question I asked you, sir. The question I asked you was, do you need more business right now? Like you're getting phone calls from Google. Congratulations. Seriously. That's something that most businesses don't do. I'm asking you if that's enough. Do you need more? Okay. So it's not really about how you target, even though I don't teach that way. You can still target that way. And as long as they answer yes to that question, I need more business right now, or I could use more business, then they're a potential client. You got to continue qualifying at that point. But um, does that answer that question for you?
It does.
Okay.
Related to that is, since I could do that, do you know of a browser extension or something that can allow me to modify my location so that I can see who's already advertising in different cities? Because if somebody's doing a location-based ad, then I'm not even going to know if they're advertising because I'm based in one location. If I'm wanting to find out who's advertising in different cities, then how can I change my IP or change my location so that I can see those ads, those advertisers?
There's an app called User Agent Switcher, and I'm pulling it up right now on Google for you. It's something that I've taught on and recommend. It's a Chrome app. Um, User Agent Switcher. Here's the. I'm going to go to my screen. You're not going to be able to see it on Zoom, but you'll be able to see it in the Facebook. Okay, in the Facebook feed. But the User Agent Switcher for Chrome is going to show you everything you need to see and then some. Okay, you're going to be able to
Okay.
actually target based off of locations, like you're asking about. There's also a quicker hack, but it's kind of not a good hack. It's the incognito window. Open an incognito window inside of Google, which is up here in the three bars. You just open an incognito window right there. Okay.
Okay, I see that. Which is,
Um,
if I say to somebody, look,
sorry, say again.
yeah, so I'm going on to the, you've answered the two questions, so now I'm just going to get on to the concern.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so in the sales script, we're saying, look, we have calls coming in right now. They got to go somewhere, and I'm wanting to know whether or not you can handle more calls right now. Um, and they say, yes, sure, I can handle more calls. I want them. We agree on the price. We agree on the start date, and so forth. And then I set up the campaign, but my ads are not showing on the first page. And it's taking 2 or 3 days or 4 or 5 days or 7 days before even the first call comes in. And yet I told them these calls are coming in right now. They need to go somewhere. And then there's this delay. How do I set the right expectation based on, one, I've set urgency, but now I'm having to build up my campaign so that I'm not paying too much.
Okay, two things on that concern, and I hear a huge echo, so I'm not sure what you're going to need to do to fix that.
Okay, I'll see if I can mute one of these things. I'm not sure.
Well, now I probably won't be able to hear you, but okay, I'll answer the question and then you can unmute and pop back on. No problem. So the biggest thing that I would tell you on that is um, the thing that always speeds up the results that you can get for one client is having multiple clients all at once. That's one of the reasons why I talk about blitzes, and also why I love doing things like the December Dash, where we don't just go after one client and try and hope for the best, right? We go after multiple clients, pull in multiple data sets, and every time we optimize the campaigns for one of those clients, most of it applies to all the rest as well, real time. And if we do that, let's say we have 5 clients, we have 5 data sets. but 5 data sets that apply to the other 4, right? So if you think about it, it's like 20 times the optimization than you would have if you had just one client with one set of optimization. That's the first thing I would tell you on the concern on your side, right? Now, how to manage the expectations of your clients. That's something that is an ongoing conversation where you say, hey, after they're onboarded, they have an account. You say, hey, listen, sometimes people have calls come in today. Sometimes it'll be a day or two, right? Just just know that when a call does come in, I'm not God. I can't make people ring the phone, but people will ring. And when they ring, they're coming to you direct. So be ready. And that's the expectation that you manage and set. Um, say at that point, I've seen a couple days go by where a call hasn't come through. And then I've seen days where 3 or 4 calls come in all at once. Be ready, just like normal. And you've been in the business XYZ years, or 15 years. You know how it goes. But you can only say that if you've done good market research and know that that's how it actually goes in the business. For example, water damage. That's a field where when it rains, it pours. And I know that's in a southern expression. I get it, but it's true. It's very much literal and true. When it rains, it pours, meaning it floods like a mother, right, in certain areas, but only when it's raining. You can't you can't have a crap ton of phone calls or daily phone calls come in every time there's a drought, right? That's not going to work. However, you reassure your clients, you talk to them on a regular basis, uh, let them know that their balance is still good with you and it's there in their account. They can look at it at any time. And whenever a call does come through or whenever calls do come through, they're going to get them straight up. So that's how you manage expectations a lot better ongoing. It's an ongoing process, as well as help shorten that lag time on the actual campaign data. Now, if you only can pull in a couple clients is better than one. So keep working at it. Right? That should be your primary focus. A lot of people, what I find is they'll get a client or 2 clients and they not necessarily stop. Some of them stop. Most of them go into this mode of trying to optimize and deliver for those 2 clients as a test case so that they can justify to themselves going after more clients. And that's a big mistake. Do not be that person, okay? Be the person that understands if I can deliver a phone call, I can quantify that number. And if I can quantify a number, then I can multiply that number. It's a matter of data and optimization. Now, if that means you need to get on a session with me and we need to go through your campaigns real time, then that's what we do, right? But what we don't do is stop acquiring clients. Anytime you stop acquiring clients on a brand new vertical, and this is the first time, so in other words, your first vertical you've ever done in pay per call and you're cutting your teeth and you stop getting clients, you're as good as dead, period. Okay? Julian? Hello?
Got it,
Oh,
got it, got it.
okay.
Understood.
By the way, I've seen that to the effect of, I've seen that happen where somebody pulls in 30 clients in a couple of months and then goes a month and a half, 2 months without pulling in clients and completely fucking tanks, by the way, because of that. Because it was a low call volume vertical and they did not keep doing what I asked them to do, which was pulling more clients. Okay? That's how important it is. It's not something to be understated. So it's a very legitimate concern you have. Very good question. I just want to make sure that you understand fully what you're getting into. Now, that said, there are some verticals that tend to do better out of the gate than others. But if you follow what I teach, every vertical becomes a good vertical. That's kind of why I teach the way I teach, is because it applies to every vertical. And yes, some are going to be higher call volume but lower cost or lower profit, let's say per call, whereas lower call volume can be much higher profit but less calls coming in. But if you have a client flow, right? If you have a good inflow of clients, then you're fine. There's never going to be a challenge of whether or not you're able to optimize the data fast enough for your existing clients. Yeah, there's a lot to that, but that's the basic the basic idea. Does that help you with your concerns?
It does. It does. Okay,
Good.
one just occurred to me now.
Yeah.
So let's say that I'm wanting to maximize full volume and go after and create as many channels as possible for my clients. And I
Okay.
say, if this particular vertical, I could do Facebook ads, I could do Bing ads, and I could do Google ads. And do I have the ability to have their funds put into that one account, and then it takes from all three sources, or do I have to create three different campaigns and and allocate the money in three different ways so that if a call comes in from Facebook, it
Yep.
deducts it.
The money is tied directly to the company. The company has the wallet, and so you create three different campaigns for three different traffic sources. In your example, yes, and three different rates. Let's say per call, even if you wanted to. So, for example, let's say you wanted to charge $10 a call from Bing, $20 a call from Facebook, and $30 a call from Google Call Ads, right? Just as an example, 10, 20, 30. You could do that inside of the campaign settings, and it would subtract from the wallet. All of those would subtract from the wallet that the company has. Okay, and all three campaigns can be assigned to that company as well. So it's, one company has multiple campaigns or can have multiple campaigns with multiple pricing. Um, uh, you could do multi-tiered, like if you've got, for example, something like HVAC where you've got installs that are worth significantly more than repair calls, but you also know that repair calls can lead to installs. But installs outright, someone calling specifically about an install is going to be worth $150 easy, right? You can set up a separate phone number and a separate campaign for that tier of phone calls. And then the other type of phone call, the repair side, you can set it at $50, right? And pull in with a separate campaign on call ads, for example, for that as well. And those two campaigns inside of Ring Ads will charge 150 and 50 to the same company wallet, right? There's no you don't have to worry about setting funds for each individual campaign or anything like that. You set the charge rate. Now, if the charge rate is the same, which most cases it will be, just the traffic sources are different for you on your end. But the client pays the same 150 for an install call no matter where it comes from, then that's easy. You set the 150 rate for each campaign that you have, and every time a call comes through, it's $150 out of the wallet, no matter if it came from Google Ads or Facebook or Bing. Okay.
Now, the software Ring Ads is attached to the wallet, so that if their wallet runs out of money, it'll pause the campaign in Google.
That's where having a Google MCC account and having the Google Ads API done comes in handy, right? And that's not something that I have out released on training yet. It's something I'm working on, and I will get to you guys as quickly as I can. As quickly as I
Does
can.
that work with Bing or with any other traffic source? Or is it only Google?
Only Google Ads. Only Google Ads. Google Ads API is specifically for Google Ads, right? Kind of makes sense.
I would have to manually monitor to see whether or not there is money in their account, and if not, then I would have to pause it in all traffic sources if it runs out in Google or if it runs out anywhere.
Once you have your Google Ads API set up, it will automatically suspend if you have it set to do so. For Facebook and for Bing, you would still have to manually monitor currently, meaning that's in development. There's things that are coming that are going to help you do that kind of stuff. But the fact is, I haven't taught you to run traffic from those places yet, not really, and not step by step. And so I don't want you using them really, not to start with. Um, that said, if you decide to still do it, then yeah, you're kind of on your own with the manual reviews of that for sure.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. Good questions. All good questions. Oh, we have a chat inside of Zoom here. I might have missed something, and then maybe some questions over on the main feed here. Got some work to do. See you all later. Okay, cool. Everybody's good there. Trying to get into Zoom. Looks like everybody got in. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. And we went 2 hours. I know we went over, but it's the last fast start session. I want to make sure everybody's prepped for the weekend enough to get done what they need to get done. And everybody's head's in the right place and they're thinking about the right things. And if you need proof of that, like, see, most people that aren't committed, and again, no judgments, just be aware that the uncommitted will ask questions that are more targeted to if this is possible, instead of asking questions about how software functions, right? Or instead of asking questions, which are good questions, or instead of asking questions about what areas they're targeting or should be targeting, right? Like, and Clem with his to-do list, right? So Christina was asking about targeting where. Clem went further on that and his to-do list. And then you got Julian asking about software. These are all questions that are from people that I know are committed. Like, I don't even have to ask them. I already know. I can tell by how they're asking the question, how they sound when they're asking the question, where their head's at, the language that they use when asking those questions are all in the right mindset. Like, these people are geared up and ready to go, and so that puts a smile on my face. I'm very excited about that. Very happy to see that. Keep hitting it hard. Those of you who are in the shadows and haven't said hello yet, we do start officially sessions on December 1st. We have a coaching call tomorrow, the 28th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in the free to join Ring Ads Facebook group. So if you haven't joined that Ring Ads Facebook group, go to Facebook, type in @RingAdsOfficial, all one little deal there, @RingAdsOfficial, and find the Facebook group. It's called Ring Ads Pay Per Call. It's free to join. Our software is free to use as well. Grab that while you're at it. That's at ringads.com. And again, while you're at it, connect with ringads.com. Go to connectwithringads.com, and you'll find all the different channels that we're going to be broadcasting from and updating with content for not just the December Dash, but on an ongoing basis. So it's a good way to kind of keep tabs on what we're doing and how that affects you. So software upgrades and announcements, training announcements, live sessions like this, and then some. Pretty exciting stuff. I can't wait. December's right around the corner. Hope you all had a very happy Thanksgiving, those of you that celebrate it, and those of you that didn't. I hope you listed out what you were grateful and thankful for. If you haven't, please take at least 5 minutes to do that. It's super helpful, puts you in the right space mentally. I have a saying, and I did coin this, believe it or not. It is, when your attitude is gratitude, there's no room for anything else. I'll let you stew on that for a little bit. When your attitude is gratitude, there's no room for anything else. It really is true. There's no room for fear when you're full of gratitude. When you're grateful, there's no room for fear. There's no room for hate. There's no room for resentment. There's no room for negative thinking. If you're grateful and you spend time, even just a few minutes a day, can make a huge impact on the rest of your day and how the rest of your day plays out if you spend that few minutes in gratitude. I would highly recommend. It's kind of addictive too. Once you spend a few minutes doing it every day, it's kind of like, that's not enough. I want more gratitude. I want to be grateful for more things. And so you go and you go out of your way to look for things to be grateful for. And I'll tell you something, it puts a smile on my face because I'm laughing about it right now, but it's true. There's not a time that I've ever been able to put myself in not only a better state, but just be able to put other people in a better state from just being grateful. That's why when I come on and I'm like sick as a dog, like yesterday, I was not well at all, but because I believe that I came from a place of gratitude, I showed up and delivered, and I think I was able to deliver well enough to keep you folks moving. And to me, I'm grateful for that, grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that and know that I was able to do that from a place of not being in the best state that I could be physically, right? So that made a huge impact to me mentally, and you'll find that those things add up, right? And also carry into your momentum. So that said, you know where to find us. I'm excited. December Dash is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Hell of a lot of people are going to build some big ass agencies. I can't wait for it. It's going to be fun. And yeah, I can't wait. December 1st, I'll see you folks either on tomorrow's coaching call at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or I'll see you Tuesday at 11 a.m. on December 1st for our first session. All right. Bye for now, guys.
Bye.
Cool. Cool. You fall. Back on my shit with a new advantage. I leave it up to you to settle the damage. Diamond, yeah, I know it's foreign to him. I came from the guts of rural Alabama. Steph Curry wrist, watch with the handle. Simple motors, gotta lead by example. Not too many make it out when they doubt. Never been about bailing off of my route. Rain gang, got the city HD. Hate to see my brother die every week. Numb to your vision. My life got me too fucked up. Disrespect to make a nigga go dumb. Pillow talking while you nursing that bitch and turn you to a scrub. I let prices from the plug. Bay Shore, Ocean View, or win Adidas with the boots. Niggas out here slinging arbitrage, so the money really no excuse. Welcome to the realm.